Hi everyone! Today I'm going to review Smashbox's new Full Exposure Eye Palette. Okay, and there's the palette right there. The palette on the inside comes with 14 eyeshadows, 7 of them are shimmers and 7 of them are mattes. It also comes with a dual-sided eyeshadow brush, and it comes with a half size of Smashbox's Full Exposure Mascara. Okay? Now, I picked this palette up last week at the Calgary Women's Show, and at the Women's Show I met Christy Dukovic, who is an artistry trainer and a lead artist for Smashbox in Toronto, and she was down for the Calgary Women's Show. Let me just fix my hair here. There we go. She was down in Calgary for the Calgary Women's Show, and she kind of shared with me some tips and techniques for using this eye palette and took me through it, and that's why I thought I would share some of these tips with you guys. Now, one of the really cool things that comes with this eye palette is this chart with different eye shapes, and the chart kind of tells you how to best do your eye makeup to emphasize and increase kind of the depth and intensity of your eye shape, how to best emphasize your eyes. So the first thing that Christy asked me when she met me and she was about to do my makeup is, well, do you have a crease in your eye? And of course I said, yes, I do. I do have a crease in my eye, and that automatically eliminated this eye shape right here. Then Christy looked at me and said, okay, do you see a lot of white around the colored part of your eye? And when I look straight ahead, you can see that you don't really see a lot of white around the colored part of my eyes. You don't actually see any. And so that means that I don't have the round eye shape. Okay, so I definitely don't have downturned eyes. And the way Christy determined that is this hair is just going to keep bothering us. So Christy took a makeup brush, and I have a pen right here, and she kind of held it horizontal to my eyes, and she had me look straight ahead, and she's kind of tried to see whether my eyes turned up or down. And from doing that, she saw that my eyes do turn up just a little bit, not a lot, and she determined that I have almond-shaped eyes. So once I figure that out, I can kind of see different ways to do my makeup, either for daytime, which is a very subtle look, nighttime, a more dramatic look, and then just a defined eye, which would basically be, a light, simple shade across my eyelid, and then how to best do my eyeliner to shape my eyelid, my eye shape. Okay, so that's how you use this chart. I think it's really, really helpful because if you've ever watched a YouTube tutorial, or maybe you've even watched Smashbox tutorials, and you've kind of gone back and you've tried to do the same effect to your own eye, and you've kind of felt like, well, I did everything that they said, but my effect just doesn't look as great as theirs, or their model obviously already has such great features and that wouldn't work on me. Well, this kind of eliminates all of that, right? You don't have to second guess whether you're doing the techniques right, because you're doing the technique that matches your eye shape, and it should work for your eye shape. I've tried all the techniques myself, and I do think that they look really great. The one thing that I have noticed though is that there's no winged eyeliner in the eye shape that's recommended for me, and I don't love that. I do really like a little bit of a flick when I do my liquid eyeliner. I've been trying to do my makeup without that. It looks great, but I do miss that little flick. So I will admit that I add that in. And I think that even though my eyes are upturned a little bit, I just like emphasizing that a little bit more. So, I mean, this is a great guideline. If you need help on applying eye makeup, this is a great guideline that's included with the palette. So moving on, I'll actually go to the mascara next and say that I'm not going to review this mascara. And the reason being is that I feel like when you get a half size or a smaller size of mascara, you don't really get the true effect of the mascara because the wand doesn't really seem to pick up enough product. So yeah, I know there's product at the end, but if you look at the actual wand there's not a lot of product on that, and I can't really get any on my eyelashes. So can't review that because I don't really feel like I get to really use it, and I won't be using that. So that's just because it's a half size. Moving on to the palette, okay? If you look at the brush that they've included with the palette, you'll notice that it's divided into a side for matte shades and a side for shimmer shades, okay? And that's labeled very clearly. Now, the matte side is more fluffy, and I believe that's so you can apply the matte shades into your crease, okay? Really like swirl those in there and help define your eye. And the shimmer side is flat, and the reason for that is so you can take the shimmer shades and pat them into your eye area and not get any fallout for the eyeshadow. A lot of people complain that when they use shadows that are shimmery or glittery, they get a lot of fallout. And if you pat it in instead of, just kind of rubbing it in like this, you won't get any fallout. I also use an eye primer, and find that I don't get a lot of fallout because my eyeshadow just sticks to the eye primer and doesn't fall out. If you use a glitter eyeshadow, there is fallout there, and another way you can minimize that is actually by using your fingers and then patting the eyeshadow there. And I found that to be a problem whether I was using a Smashbox shadow or a Bobbi Brown shadow or a Tom Ford shadow. Whenever I use a glitter shadow, there is fallout, and that's how I minimize it, is by using a primer and using a patting motion when I'm applying the eyeshadow. Okay, if you look at these colors, you'll notice that the top shimmer shades, all of them except for the very middle one, have glitter in them. Okay, and there is very fine silver glitter in all of those. Now, some people really don't like glitter. I will say that it's a trend right now to have very glittery eyeshadow, and I think that started with the release of Tom Ford's makeup line. So when he launched his makeup line, almost all his eye palettes had a glitter shade in them, and that's so you could take that glitter shade and kind of pop it into the center of your eyelid and really draw light into the middle of your eye and make it look nice and bright and luminous. And that's the effect that you get with these eyeshadows as well. The silver glitter really draws the light towards the eye and really gives it a nice luminous effect that is different from a shimmer, and it's really nice. If you normally don't like glitter, I would say try it because it is a really big trend right now, and I think we're going to start seeing it for the next little while. Now, if you look at this middle shade right here, this shade does not have any glitter in it, and it's really great for a very simple look or for even highlighting your brow bone, and it's kind of just a nice peachy pale color. Okay, that's the color right there. Really pretty. Okay, now the matte shades are super pigmented. And that's awesome because that means that you only need a tiny bit and then you can kind of swirl them into your crease or on the outer corners of your eye. The darker shades are also great used as eyeliners. So you can use them with an eyeliner brush, you can use them with water, you can use them without water for a kind of smoky eyeliner effect. They're very versatile. The other way that you can use these matte shades is kind of blend them with the corresponding shimmer shade to kind of tone down that shimmer. And if you want to do a daytime look that's very natural, very subtle, I would definitely take the shimmer side of my brush and mix the two colors so that I get a very natural kind of look, more natural than normal. Now, the other thing you'll notice about this palette is that it's split up into warm shades and then cool shades on this side. And you might be wondering, well, why do I need both? I might rather just have warm shades that are natural golds and bronzes, or I might just rather have some cool shades that I can wear every day. And the best way I can describe it is that if you're using colors that are the same coloring as you are, then that will be a more natural look for you. And if you use shades that are the opposite coloring of what you are, then you will be able to define your eyes a little bit more and really draw more attention to them. So for example, I have brown eyes. I tend to have a warmer coloring. If I use the gold and bronze shades in this eye palettes, that would be my natural, neutral, everyday look. Okay? If I choose to use these smoky grays on the other side, over here, That would be what I'd use to draw attention to my eye, maybe for a smoky eye, maybe just to emphasize my eyes, because that's going to be the opposite of my natural coloring. And same with, if you have blue eyes, if you wear one of these cool shades, that's not really going to draw attention to the blue as much as maybe this copper color in the middle will. Okay, and that's the reason that I think it's nice to have both of these in the palette, because sometimes you want to draw attention to your eyes and sometimes you want, maybe your lips or your cheeks to take center stage, and you might use some of the golden bronze colors instead. Why I might use some of the golden bronze colors. Okay, so overall, I think this palette is great because it is so versatile, because you are getting the mattes, you are getting the shimmers, you are getting the cools and the warm colors. I use the brush that comes with the palette because I really like it. I think it's a great brush. I like that it's dual-sided. I will say that I like this palette a lot more than the Urban Decay Naked palettes. And I know people love, love, love those palettes. I just find that they're not as versatile for me. Those palettes really have, a bunch of gold shades or a bunch of beige shades or a bunch of rose gold shades. And I don't necessarily need everything in the same color family. I kind of find that if I have one or two in a color family, I'm good. And then I like one or two in another color family. The other thing with that palette is that there's usually not very many matte shades. There might be one or two, and if those aren't exactly the shades that you need, then you're kind of out of luck. Whereas I find with this, you get a full spectrum of matte shades, which is a lot better. You get this cream shade in the middle, which is great as a base, and then these are great as contours, and then you get a matte black, which is great as a liner, or for even using in your crease if you're trying to do a very dramatic contour, for a night look. So I really like that. You can get this palette now. It's still on counters, and in Canada you can get it at Shoppers Drug Mart, Murrell, or Sephora stores. And yeah, I really like it, and I hope you like it too. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.